Good morning, Joy Horner here in Glastonbury. A little bit late today. As you know, I don't always come on every week. I haven't always got something to shout about on me on my soapbox. But I normally come on around 10, 11 o'clock time. So if nobody's watching, that's cool because I know a lot of you catch up later. So I've got two topics today, and as usual, I'll just see where the topics take me. But I found out it's World Doula Week this week, and doulas are brilliant, and I just want to celebrate all doulas. And that got me thinking. It coincided with me handing in my midwifery registration at the weekend, and although I'd planned it for many, many years, probably over a decade. Hi, Elizabeth. And I sort of thought, yeah, this year will probably be the year. I sat down at my computer a couple of days ago and thought, I'll just see what the process is and see how easy it is, and go onto the Nursing and Midwifery Council website and just follow the steps and see how it goes. And before I knew it, I'd done it. So I am no longer a registered midwife, which pleases me no end. Not that I regret being a midwife, because I don't, not a minute of it. Even the worst minutes of it, I don't regret any of it. And I loved being able to help families and be there at such a special time in their lives. But what I won't miss is the bureaucracy, the restrictions, the muting, the having to put on the public face all the time because I'm on the midwifery register. So if I go on social media, if I help a stranger in the street, because I'm on the register, I have to act like a professional at all times. And I do. I've managed to do that for 37 years now. And as some of you may have seen on my professional page, this page, I was harangued a couple of days ago. A couple of people had opposing views to me, which is fine. But I do like to tell people that I give inclusive care, to anyone and everyone. I've got gay and transgender family members, and I am very aware that they are discriminated against. Now, I'm very aware that women are discriminated against. I'm a feminist. I still fight for women's rights, but I also fight for the rights of the transgender and gay and all the other peoples as well. People of colour, people that are disabled, people of different religions, people of different educational needs, and people with no money. Someone slated me and said, of course, you care about the LGBT, I can't even say it, community. But what about people that can't pay? You only care about those people because they can pay. Well, does it not occur to you that, social economic status does not affect your gender or your sexual orientation? It's complete madness. Anyway, a few people were trying to slate me and bring me down and cast aspersions on my practice and who I am as a health professional. Did I not know biology? Did I not know the difference between men and women? Ridiculous stuff. But you know what? I acted like a professional, and I acted like a compassionate, loving person, because that's what I am. That doesn't mean I'm going to suffer fools gladly. If people are abusive or start slating me and don't heed warnings to desist, they're just going to go. They're going to be blocked. And someone said, oh yeah, but you can shut down conversations and you can block people. And yeah, I can, because it's my page and my rules. And if you don't like it, you can jog on. Yeah, that's the bottom line. But anyway, I never know where these talks are going to go. As I said, it's just my rantings, my ramblings. But yeah, started with World Doula Week. because I've been wondering, what do I call myself now I'm no longer a registered midwife? Because I don't cease being a midwife, because I've still got all the knowledge, I've still got all the skills. Although I won't be practicing anything clinically, I will certainly not be doing internals, I will not be giving injections, I'll not be measuring blood pressures, I'll not be diagnosing labour, any of those things. Oh, thank you, Rana. Oh, yeah, it's taken a lot of practice actually to be this calm and collected. But 37 years of being a health professional sort of trains you to do that. I've had to deal with some really abusive and nasty people in the past. Not many, not many, but it teaches you when you get to look into people's lives and actually ask them what's going on in their lives. These people are often scared people. The angry people are often scared people, and just be nice to them. Give them a cup of tea, you know, help them get to that peaceful place where they can actually explain what they're frightened of. Yeah, yeah. It's taken a lot of practice, and I'm still practicing. I did feel my blood pressure rising with the posts. So I put on the Wii, and my eldest child and I danced around the living room furiously until we felt better, which is great. Uh, yeah, so going back to, yeah, so midwives. Going to talk about midwives as well as doulas and nurses, actually, because I was a nurse before I was a midwife. We can get a lot of flack from the general public. We can get physical as well as verbal abuse. I've been spat on, I've been pinched, I've been kicked, I've been verbally abused. Yeah, all in the line of providing a service for people. Um, as a doula, can you support a free birth in the UK? Well, yeah, I can. Now not a midwife, I can. Whereas being a midwife, I wasn't allowed to attend free births because I didn't have insurance. So there's this whole big secure insurance issue. We had to get insurance in 2014. The insurance that we found wasn't deemed good enough, and then the last insurance provider pulled out last year, which all sort of coincided with my sister dying and me taking time off and reevaluating everything in my life. But yeah, it meant that when people phoned me for support and they just wanted my support during a hospital birth, even, I could not support them because that would be illegal because I was on the midwifery register and didn't have insurance. So, yeah, I had to take myself off the register because people still need my care and support. So, yeah, I can attend free births, not as a midwife, and I've made this really clear. I'm going to work on my website later because, as I said, it was a bit of a spur of the moment decision. Yeah, to say that I definitely don't provide midwifery care, although I've got all the midwifery knowledge. I'm there as a supporter, I'm there to give information, I'm there to uphold people's human rights. Yeah, and I've got a huge contract which I get people to sign now to say we know Joy isn't a midwife and that she won't be bringing any midwifery equipment or drugs or anything. Yeah, I just had to be really clear about it. Sorry, going back on the messages here. So, is the idea of being known as a doula now something that you would be happy with? I'd be very happy to be known as a doula. Very happy. Yeah, if the doula community would accept me as such. Again, I don't want to profess to be anything that I'm not. And I'm some weird sort of hybrid. And I don't feel I can authentically call myself a doula because I've got too much medical knowledge in my head and too much midwifery experience in my head, and I can't unlearn it, and I can't unsee the things that I've seen. So I can't call myself a doula, and I'm going to be very clear with clients, as I always have been actually, about what I bring to a birth. Loads of experience, but with that experience comes baggage. you get all the horrible stuff that I've seen. I mean, I won't tell you about it, but that is what's in my head. And sometimes it's much better to have a doula, that's not seen half of the stuff that I've seen, perhaps. Although a lot of experienced doulas will have. I work with a brilliant doula in Glastonbury, and now I'm going to get to be backup for her at a couple of births, which I'm really excited about. Only on call, if something happens and she can't get there. But we've got a couple of shared clients, and I'm so, so excited. This isn't a service that we're offering. We don't double up normally, but these two exceptional cases of people that we know and love in our community want to work with both of us. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Yeah, so I love doulas and I respect doulas, and my colleague JD has got so much experience. Yeah, her knowledge base is on a par with mine. Yeah, she just hasn't had to do all the horrible midwifery stuff that I've had to do. So yeah, I don't feel I can call myself a doula. She calls me a doula with baubles. Perhaps that ought to go on my website, doula with baubles. Or with baggage baubles. Oh my God, I don't know. And someone kindly suggested I could just call myself with woman, which I can, because mostly I'll be with women. But do you know what? I'll be with trans folk too, and non-binary folk, and families, and dads, and siblings, and grandmas, and yeah, the whole caboodle. So I don't think with woman covers the whole of what I'm doing, really. But thank you, Sally. Lucy. This is music to my ears. So glad you can now support, totally understand. Yeah. It's not medical, but I never enjoyed the medical bit, to be honest. And oh, Margaret, you're there. Okay, Margaret, I'm going to get to you in a minute. But I never enjoyed the medical bit. And now the medical bit has gone, I'm going to enjoy my role even more. Just the support, just the care, just the love. Yeah, going to enjoy that so much. And no one ever, well, maybe a couple of times, congratulated me on my medical skills, my skills. I don't know how to put it. My clinical skills after a birth. They didn't say, "Oh, Joy, the way you manipulated the baby out of me was excellent. It was textbook." you know, People don't. People care about the love that you give and the care that you give, and that you're there for them. Yeah, so I don't mind letting go of the clinical side of it at all. One little bit. Margaret, there will be a test case one day, and then we will be here to support you and your non-midwifery colleagues. Thank goodness doulas are recognised. Yeah, there's always going to be cases against midwives, whether they're registered or not, and against doulas. I know a lot of doulas that have come up against nasty stuff. I've supported at least one that I can think of during a case where she was called into the hospital to answer for what she was telling women. This is a doula. This isn't a former midwife. This is a doula, a really good doula who informs people of their choices and their rights. And I went to that meeting with her at the hospital, and I think there were 2 midwives. There might have even been 3 at the meeting. Yeah, they dragged all these cases about, and all the cases were hearsay of the midwives, and luckily my doula colleague had lots of testimonies from the clients saying, no, we weren't coerced into anything. Yes, we knew all the risks. Yes, we made our own decisions. Oh my goodness. When are we going to stop infantilizing women and people? They are grown-ups. They make their own decisions. I would have to be, I don't know, Darren Brown or someone, using hypnotic skills to make people do things. Although I know coercion is a thing, but it's not my thing. Anyway, there you go, rambling on. Elisa, please do forgive me. I haven't got my glasses on, so I'm really straining to read these. Do you think it will be difficult not to do anything clinical if supporting women at birth as a doula. For example, if neonatal resuscitation was needed. Well, no, I'm not going to find it hard because as a member of the public and a human being, I have the right to help other human beings. So if someone collapsed in the street in front of me and I know CPR because I've been a nurse and I used to be a first aid trainer, um, I would morally have to help that person in the street, wouldn't I? Otherwise, yeah, the person might die. For goodness sakes. Yeah, really. Yeah, brought into sharp focus now, just imagining it. And the same at a birth. If a midwife didn't get there in time, you know, me having no neonatal resuscitation equipment whatsoever would not faze me. You get on and do what you've got to do. You help the person in front of you. You know, and no woman is going to sue me for trying to save their baby's life, or trying to control bleeding, with my own hands, or yeah, no family are going to try and sue me for doing that. You know, yeah, yeah, really good question. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. So I'll still be able to use the skills in emergencies. Um, yeah, I just won't be acting as a midwife. I'll be acting as a general member of the public, who knows how to do CPR. Simples. Sally, thank you. Emily, thank you. Sally, thank you. New beginnings, Karen. Yeah, definitely. Onwards and upwards. Here we go. It's interesting, the claiming of a word by an organisation. Yeah, isn't it? I always think you can be a midwife in many ways, supporting those life transitions and the change and becoming of the soul into the next phase of life. Absolutely, absolutely, that is it. And I listened to a great midwifery colleague at the Association of Radical Midwives conference the previous weekend, not last weekend, and she's been officially retired for a few years, and she described herself as a midwife. And I thought, oh my God, of course you're a midwife. You'll always be a midwife because you cannot take it out of us. You can't take the knowledge and the skills out of us. It's always there. We can retire from clinical practice, but you can't take the skills and the knowledge and the wanting to walk this path with people. And as you said, it's about all the transitions. I don't just do this for birth. I do this for death. I do this for people who want to terminate their pregnancies. I'll do this for miscarriage. I was doing that last week, actually. Yeah, all transitions, all hardships, all, recovering after trauma, after birth trauma. I do loads of work in that area. Yeah, helping people through the transitions. Oh, here we go. Got to keep up. Carly, I'd be an asset to the doula community. Thank you. I'll leave that up to them to decide. I'd hate to appropriate the title of doula. Yeah, as I said, it only sort of encompasses part of my work, and yeah, I don't know, it's just not entirely what I do. Although I love doulas so much. They do what midwives really want to do. So if you ever find animosity against you, if you're a doula and you're dealing with midwives, it's what midwives want to do. We wish we had the time as busy NHS midwives to stay with someone, to hold their hand, to talk them through every contraction. That's what we want to do. And there are so many good midwives in the NHS. Oh my goodness, that was going to be the other part of my talk. I really don't like the slating of midwives, or of anyone, actually, of anyone. It's not nice and it's not kind. And our midwifery colleagues do the best they can in the most difficult of circumstances. And I'm really sorry that sometimes the care isn't up to standard and people are damaged and traumatised, and that's dreadful and shouldn't happen. But I'm also very aware as a midwife that I've had to go from dealing with stillbirths to dealing with an angry family, yeah, who may not think I'm being the most compassionate to them, but in the next room, I've been dealing with something completely different. So it's hard sometimes to be the best that we can be for every single family. But please complain about us. Please tell us to do better. Always best to complain to the midwife first. Always best to tell her you don't like what she's doing. Yeah, and there are ways she can do it better. Just write to the midwifery unit, address it to the midwife, address it to the labour ward or the head of midwifery. You don't go straight to the NMC. The NMC are so punishing and horrid to midwives on the whole, particularly independent midwives. But midwives on the whole, much more than nurses. Yeah, don't go straight to the NMC. If you get nowhere with your complaints going through the hospital and going through PALS and writing to the chief executive, if you think the person is dangerous and their practice needs to be changed, yes, the NMC. The same with doctors, the GMC. Yeah, report them. Sorry, rambling again. Elisa, I often think of giving up midwifery to be able to actually support families better on their journeys, but I often worry about being able to step away from clinical side and unlearning some of the damage we are taught to do as midwives. So thank you for answering my question. Yeah, well, it's been a long journey in unlearning the medical. Working in a birth centre helped. Being an independent midwife really helped. And attending births when we didn't have insurance. Before we got insurance, so this is like back in the time where we were told we had to have it, and yeah, so attending births without insurance really helped. What else has helped? Just my belief in normal birth, which has grown and grown and grown over 20 years of midwifery. Yeah, and I think I've seen a lot of things and I've learned a lot. Okay, if you ever get a chance, go to a Midwifery Today conference. Definitely become a member of the Association of Radical Midwives. Learn all you can about the practices in other countries, and get all the skills that you can. I've learned so much from Midwifery Today, from midwives who work outside of the medical system, who can't carry drugs. They're not allowed to carry drugs, and what they use. Speak to doulas. What do they advise people that are planning free births to use? Yeah. Elizabeth, oh, thank you. Anouk, lovely to see you, Anouk. Anouk is a brilliant NHS midwife who is with woman, with person, with everyone, and is beautiful and gorgeous and goes to the Midwifery Today conferences with me, which we love, and we hope that there's going to be one in October this year. And if it's in Bad Wilbad in Germany, you must go. Any birth worker who can go and can afford to go must go. It's in a spa town, so we literally have midwifery conference in the day, and then we go to the spa afterwards, and you're there in the spa with people like, oh my God, I've just got to get the names out of my aged brain. So Jan Tritton in America, Gail Hart, who else was there? Robin Lim. I don't know if I bumped into Ina May Gaskin there. Sister Morningstar. All these really wonderful midwives with so much knowledge. You're all there butt naked in a spa together, singing midwifery songs. Yeah, and the feeling of solidarity and camaraderie with these women is amazing, absolutely amazing. So if you can get to Midwifery Today, do. This isn't a Midwifery Today advert. I'm not sponsored. I love them. I just love the whole conference, the whole vibe. Carly, absolutely. I've met great midwives. There are great midwives everywhere. And you know, if you're a doula or a birth partner and you encounter a narky midwife, as I've done on several occasions, you know, as an independent midwife, um, I don't know why. I think sometimes they felt a bit threatened by me, especially if they didn't know me, you see. I'd always ask them how they're doing. You know, how are they? How's their shift? How are things going for them? Have they had a break? You know, have they had time to get something to eat? You know, women in birthing people don't need to ask this, but if you're a supporter or a doula, um, yeah, or an independent midwife going into hospital, just if you can have a moment with the care provider to check in and ask how they are, do you know what? It opens so many doors. They feel cared for and loved and appreciated, and we all work together as a team. Everyone breathes a sigh of relief. We're all on the same side. We're all striving for the same thing. Um, yeah, yeah. And no doubt I'll still be encountering that as a doula, or what else have I called myself? A professional birth supporter. I quite like that. Although that's only part of my practice as well. I'll have to think about this a bit more. Holistic birth keeper. How about that one? Keep trying these on for size. Yeah, we'll see. Margaret Jowett, fantastic midwives, learnt so much. Went to midwifery today once when it was in the UK and met Gail Tully. Yeah, Gail Tully too. You know, butt naked in the spa. I don't know if she was. I can't remember. You know, my memory is dreadful at the best of times. But yeah, Gail Tully. Love Gail. Yeah. And you, Margaret, you know, for all the good that you do. Anyway, oh, Roxy, you'd love to be a midwife. Yeah, do you know what? It's really hard. I'm glad I trained when I did. I'm glad I was independent when I was. Um, I would not do the NHS training now. I would not survive. I would not be strong enough. It's grueling. And yeah, the way things are going, yeah, I just don't think it would be as enjoyable as it was when I first qualified. And I did have the time just to stay with one client and rub their back and be with them. Yeah. But that was a long, long time ago, Roxy, maybe before you were born. Oh my God, I'm feeling so old today. 1988, I started my midwifery training. There you go. Roanna, I like holistic birth keeper, keeper of the knowledge. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I just feel that my head is so stuffed full of this knowledge now. I've got to impart it. I've got to share it with people. So anyone who wants to share my knowledge and that of other knowledgeable people, JD Mountjoy, who I was talking about earlier, she's teaching alongside me and lots of other really, really clever people. I mean, I don't count myself clever, but there are lots of clever people teaching at a holistic birth keepers school in Wales. It's called Da Alw's Oasis Wales. I'm having to think because it's very, very new. And it's part of the Da Alw's Oasis school run by Vanessa Brooks in Spain. Now, she calls hers a midwifery school because she's teaching out there lay midwives, you know, lay midwifery. In the UK, we're not teaching lay midwifery. You know, it's illegal over here. We can't do that. Excuse me. That's a big frog. Roxy, born in 89. There you are. It was before you were born I became a midwife. That's why I've got rose tinted spectacles on. It was so long ago. Perhaps it was awful and I'm just remembering the good bits. It's the benefit of getting older. I've seen the school. It looks so amazing. That would be my dream one day. Yeah, yeah. So this year is the very, very first year that we're setting it up. We're just sharing information and knowledge for all people. So if you're thinking about becoming a midwife, it would be a great course to do. If you're a doula and you'd just like a bit more information and skills, it's a great course to do. If you're planning to have babies, you know, it's a great course to do. You know, perhaps you just want to, I don't know a bit about birth complications. You know, you're attending a family member's birth, and you know, you want to feel skilled in case the midwife don't get there in time. I don't know. But yeah, so the course is open to all people because knowledge is I don't think it should be just in the domain of registered and qualified people. You know, this is women's knowledge, this is birthing knowledge. You know, this should be accessible to all people without having to read medical textbooks. This isn't medical knowledge, this is knowledge that we've shared for generations. You know, how to be with women and birthing people during birth, how to care for them during pregnancy, how to support them when they've got their newborn in their arms. You know, this is what I've got to be doing now. This is what I am doing now. So this year, we're, as well as full-time, we're going to offer module placements. So do look at the Da Aluz Oasis School. I'll see if I can put a link in afterwards. And thank you, Joy. I agree. Ancient wisdom belongs to it all. It does. And we forgot it. And we were told what to do. And we were told that men and doctors know better for us. And we were told that we need drugs and hospitals and to lay on our back to give birth. And mostly we don't. The vast majority of people don't need half of that stuff. You know, I am a midwife. There you go. Still saying I am a midwife. I do respect that there are medical conditions, there are emergencies where doctors and drugs and hospitals can be life-saving. I've experienced it myself for my first, who wasn't a home birth as planned, was in fact an unplanned caesarean. I was just thinking, was it an emergency? No, it wasn't an emergency, an unplanned caesarean. Yes, I know doctors can save lives. I was one of the necessary caesareans that happen. Only about 50% of the ones we do are actually medically necessary to save lives. The rest are sort of fear of litigation and yeah, lots of other things. Anyway, that's going down another path, isn't it? Yeah, so I really appreciate that hospitals and doctors and medicine and medically trained midwives are definitely necessary. If you are ill, you want a compassionate, caring midwife by your side who can care for you in hospital with all the drugs and machines and equipment available. You know, there is a place for all of that. But the vast majority of people have forgotten that they can give birth without any of that. Yeah, I think I'm going to try and wind up. Yeah, and I've got a great belief in birth. Birth works. Birth is as safe as life gets. And that's a quote by Harriet Hartigan. And what it means to me is that nothing in life is safe, 100%. There is risk to everything we do. But you are more likely to be murdered than die in childbirth. And I find that really reassuring. I'll see if I can find the infographic which has got that on it. But yeah, so childbirth is really, yeah, not as dangerous as people think it is. Excuse me. It's because I've been talking a lot and I haven't got a cup of tea by my side. Yeah, and of course, when I was born in the 60s, you know, the majority of people gave birth at home. You only went to hospital if you had a medical problem. You know, and if we could get anywhere near that now, we would actually prevent a lot of the trauma that's caused to people mentally and physically. If more people knew that they could give birth and were supported in giving birth and weren't interfered with medically when they didn't have a medical problem. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it there. The knowledge passed down amongst women from our elders. Yeah, fantastic. And I'm not an elder yet, but I've got a few grey hairs and I hope to be an elder one day. It's a privilege not afforded to everyone. I've lost a sister-in-law, a brother-in-law and a sister in their 50s. So I think becoming an elder and get into an old age would be a very, very great privilege. And I look forward to it if I'm to have it. So lovely to see everyone today. Thank you for your lovely comments. Continue chatting below if you need to ask me anything, and I'll see if I can put the links in if I remember what I've said. Yeah, Daraloo's and the major causes of death in the UK infographic. I'll do that. Elder of wisdom and not of age. Thank you. Although I am getting on a bit. I call myself middle-aged now, I think. If I'm aiming to live till I'm 100. Yeah, just past middle age. Lovely to see you all. Bye-bye.